Well, let's get stuck into it straight away. Danny Murphy, Manchester United sit second in the Premier League table at the moment. Are they as good as that position suggests?
Oh.
Yes.
Do you know what? I've tipped them. I think their squad's phenomenal, especially in attacking areas. I mean, how he's going to keep them all happy because so many good players. You can only win the games that get put in front of you, and they've done it at a canter, really. Only the Southampton game where they on the back foot for a little while. They can't have done much more. They've scored goals. They've looked well balanced, rotated quite nicely. I think they're in a great position. And I don't really like saying that, to be honest. But it's true. They've got more or less two for every position of quality, which is something Liverpool haven't got.
They've improved on last year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you talk about the games that they've had so far, and the fixtures have been kind, but they weren't winning those last year.
No.
Games at home against Palace and Everton, they were struggling. They weren't scoring goals. They weren't killing teams off. They're scoring 4 goals now. They're putting teams to bed, and I think it's unfair to say that they've not played anyone, because everyone's got to play these teams. Everyone's got to beat these teams.
But they've not played anybody in the top 6.
No, and I think this is why Saturday it's the first probably real test where I've seen massive improvements. It's whether the improvements now can be done on the big occasion, probably the biggest occasion of all for Manchester United players. Going to Anfield, I think, is the ultimate test for a Manchester United player.
Do you think that they've almost made a rod for their own back, though, in the sense that Manchester United fans, now at least some Manchester United fans, now expect them to go on and win the title?
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have that expectancy, because for the last 3 years, there hasn't been that. You know, Louis van Gaal said finishing in the top 4. Last year, Jose even played down expectations of winning the league. Where I think this year, I think United fans want a little bit of the pressure. They want to be talked about as title winners. I think the title will go to Manchester. I'm not sure which side yet, but I think it's good now that United are in the title race. And I think what Saturday will give, it'll give us a barometer in terms of last year they didn't beat the top sides. They only had two wins at Chelsea and Tottenham at home. They didn't do well against them in terms of the style of football as well. I think Saturday, I want to see a style that means that after the game I can say there's a title-winning side there.
I think let's get it right as well. They should be competing with what they've spent.
Yeah.
They should be competing for the
squad that
Manchester
they've got
United, for God's sake. I mean, one of the biggest clubs in the world. They have really underachieved in the last few seasons. And yeah, I mean, it is a big test for them. Anfield, over the years, even when they're at the best, it was a difficult game. And I think if we remember the game last year where people say they parked the bus, actually, for the first 15, 20 minutes, they really went after Liverpool and closed them down and showed intent. I'd be amazed if they dropped off and parked the bus this time with the confidence that they've got. And, of course, Lukaku's hit the ground running. When he's playing, Phil will know more than me about him, but when he's playing with this confidence, he's not far off unplayable. And the Liverpool centre-halves aren't, at the minute, at their most confident.
I mean, reports in the morning paper today say, from an associate of Jurgen Klopp, say that he dreamt of coming to England to manage, but he wanted to manage Manchester United. It's only speculative, of course, Danny, but how might he have done, given the same resources that Jose has had?
Well, you'd think he'd be in an equally strong position. All you can only guess, really. I mean, the fact is, Jose, with his experience, with his contacts, seems to be able to get any player he wants. Jurgen Klopp might not have that pull, but yeah, with more financial backing, it's easier. I think what I would say is Liverpool hopefully will benefit from his Dortmund days, where he didn't have the same funds as his rivals and still managed to compete, and that's kind of where Liverpool are at, because Liverpool can't compete with Manchester United. Let's get it right. You know, they can't compete with trying to get Pogba or trying to get Lukaku. So maybe having Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool after his Dortmund experience is a good thing. You know, trying to find those diamonds in the rough. I know they tried everything they could to get Van Dijk and it didn't work just for now. But you know, you would think if he's obviously got to start winning trophies, but in the next year or two, you should start seeing him use his experience in the transfer market. But there are question marks about the recruitment policy at Liverpool and the squad they've amassed.
It's the recruitment in the defence. You know, because the front 6, I like the look of the midfield. Henderson, Chan, Wijnaldum, good players. The front 3 obviously look after themselves. But defensively, and the goalkeeper, he's not addressed that situation. And I think he missed a massive thing in the summer in not selling Coutinho. I really do. I thought that was a vital time, or an opportunity where they haven't got vast amounts of money. They can't compete financially with the Uniteds and the Man Cities of the world.
But they'd have lost at Newcastle 2 weeks ago.
With Coutinho?
Without Coutinho.
No, but they would have been able to invest in the squad. They'd have been able to invest in Van Dijk. They'd have been able to invest in maybe 2 defenders. Put 2 defenders of quality in that team. You're talking about a championship-winning team or a title-challenging team. Now, I think they're at the same level that it was at 2 years ago, 4 years ago, and they just cannot get over that point of actually challenging, because they're nowhere near challenging at this moment in time.
To get over that point then, Danny, don't the owners have to back him financially more? I mean, £34 million net spend this season. That pales in comparison to Manchester United.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you should write this date down. I'm about to agree with Phil again here. It's twice in one day. I think, yes, they should spend more. Selling Coutinho, I thought, was the obvious thing to do with the other players they've got in attacking areas. Although he is a great player, it's not just about who they haven't bought, because Klein's injured and strangely he's bought a left back and not played him so much. But it's the constant rotation of players and goalkeeper. I mean, Phil's played in a back 4, back 5 many times, and my personal opinion is the best teams I've played in have always had a settled back 4 and goalkeeper that you can more or less name every week. OK, it might change here and there depending on injury or a bit of rotation, but the best teams I've played in, you could always name your back 4 and your goalkeeper, because how do you build relationships?
But I think he rotates because he probably doesn't trust any of them playing together. Lovren and Klavan and Matip, they actually don't play well together, and they keep making the same mistakes, and that's where I don't think they can challenge, because they're not good enough at the back. They've got a left-back playing at the moment who didn't play at all last season. They played James Milner. James Milner's the unluckiest player in Liverpool because he was outstanding last year. Can't get a game this year in a position where he excelled last year.
I think you'd understand him more, sorry. I mean, he's got Robertson in from Hull, who had a fantastic debut. I mean, I'm not seeing him in training every day, so you have to be careful not to eulogise too much if he's struggling a bit. But if you're going to bring a player in, give him some games to find his feet. And a bit unlucky with Klein. I like Klein. I think Klein's a really good right-back, and obviously now they've got the 2 young lads. But that's what I'm talking about, difference with United. If Valencia gets injured, they could put Darmian there. He's an Italian international, not a 20-year-old kid trying to make his way in the game. Yeah,
I mean, so far this season, Liverpool have made 24 changes to their starting 11, which is more than anybody else in the Premier League. So I mean, 2-year anniversary for Jurgen Klopp in charge then, Danny. What's your assessment of what he's achieved in that time? Have they moved on?
Yes, I think as a club they have. I think the stadium is a big help. Crowds are bigger. Finances should come more as that gets better. But I mean, let's just take it back when Brendan was in charge, because for the first couple of years he progressed the squad forward and the team playing good football, and was a game away really from winning a title. Yeah. So when he had the bad spell and lost his job, yes, they've improved from then, but are they better than when Sterling, Sturridge and... I think attacking-wise they're as good as, if not better, in terms of more players. When you throw Lallana in it, Mane, Salah, Firmino, they've got lots of options. But defensively, they're still conceding a similar amount of goals when you look at the numbers, which is a lot. Set plays are hideous. I mean, I'm sure he's working on it. He has to be. But they haven't got the experience and quality in the back line to deal with it. So this season's huge, really, for Jurgen Klopp. I mean, can they maintain a 4th place position, because that's important for Liverpool Football Club, not to be a yo-yo team in and out of Champions League? And can he get some silverware? I mean, he has taken them to 2 finals, which is not bad, but they didn't win either. No. So you can runner-up. It doesn't matter at Liverpool.
Similar to Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
You got the spike, and you thought, right, they're nearly there. And then they plateaued and started edging downwards. And they've had the spike with Jurgen Klopp now, and now they're just beginning to plateau. I mean, they've conceded 12 goals this year. They've only scored 13. People rave about the amount of goals that they score. They actually don't score as many as what you think at this moment in time. So I think they're plateauing at the moment, where people are just beginning to question whether are Liverpool actually improving under Jurgen Klopp. I think he is the right man for the job. I think he's the type of manager that if you go into the game on Saturday and a one-off game like that, you think Klopp will get them up for the fight, he'll get them fired up, he'll come racing out the traps. I think he's the right man. But I think they've got to actually start backing him in terms of the transfer market and in terms of winning trophies.
That's the key, because there are times when Liverpool play as good a football as anybody.
Why didn't they buy Van Dijk?
Well, I think Southampton dug their heels in because they were expecting more money because of Coutinho. But irrelevant of that, they should have had better in before him anyway, because last year was the same problem. But they score lots of goals, play good football. Liverpool fans want to see the type of football they're playing. What I don't like is when people say, oh, Jurgen Klopp, they're one-trick, press, high energy. They played Arsenal at home recently, and I did the game. They dropped off at home to Arsenal. And you're expecting this high press. They dropped off because they knew what was going to happen. Arsenal were going to come forward and pick them off with the pace going on the counter, and they smashed them. But he's a bright guy, and I think you're right with the funds. I mean, what do you say, 34 net?
34 million, yeah.
I mean, how do you compete with that? I mean,
that's in his whole time. That's in 2 years.
Yeah, but it's nothing, is it? It's nothing.
The biggest concern for Liverpool might be that there's a German club at the moment, one of the biggest in the world. I've got a manager till the end of the season, and maybe they might be looking at the Jurgen Klopp situation, because look, he's a world-class manager, and I agree with Danny. I don't think he's a one-trick pony. I think the style of football that he's playing now with Liverpool is a fantastic style of football and befits the Liverpool way for me. It's attacking, it's going out there, trying to outscore the opposition 4-3, 3-2. It's exciting, but he's obviously eventually he'll need to show something for it.
So you both feel he's the right man for the job. And Kenny Dalglish said today he is the perfect fit for the club, and the club is perfect for him. But do the fans share that view, do you think, Phil? And will they feel that way if they were to lose at home to United?
Look, I think the fans like him. I think they're with him all the way. But I think Liverpool, because they've been so ingrained in success, there'll become a time when they say, look, we need to start winning titles. We want to be winning titles. Jurgen's got to 2 cup competitions and lost both finals. But I think even cup competition now, that Danny said about United underachieving last year, they won 2 cup competitions but didn't challenge for the league. Challenging for the league and winning league titles, I think it's what sets Manchester United and Liverpool apart. They're the best at it, and until Liverpool start challenging again, there'll always be that pressure on a Liverpool manager. And I think that's why he's changed his... He's become a little bit tetchy in the media. He's not as smiley after games or before games now, because I think he realises he's got to start delivering. Yeah,
so, I mean, you mentioned 4th. You said can't be a yo-yo club, in Champions League one season, out of the Champions League the next season. Is 4th the best that they can hope for?
No, but what I mean is if people are looking already evaluating him for this season, what's acceptable and what's not, that's what I was talking about. I think Jurgen Klopp's expectations of himself and the club and the team is bigger than any fan. I think he thinks he can do everything. He's got that ambition and that hunger. And I quite like... I know you talk about him getting a bit more touchy in the press, but he can't win sometimes, because I hear people call in a show and they say, oh, can't be smiley, happy all the time when you lose a game. Or it's just be yourself. And I think generally
he's the best at that.
Yeah, I agree.
To be honest with you.
So there's nothing wrong with that for me, and that's why the fans like him. I personally think that he should have done more in the window. I say he, the club. And if he isn't happy with that, then he has to wear his views, because he's being judged on it. He's the one who's going to get the chop if they struggle and they don't get better. Go in and demand what you need. They need some players at the back. Phil's spot on.
Well, look at the players they bought. Robertson, 8 million.
Yeah.
Klavan, 4 or 5 million. Matip, free transfer. I mean, with that kind of outlay, and that's cheap. That's almost championship spending. That on an area of the field that Liverpool are very weak. That's why you're getting those results. You spend that kind of money, you get that level of performance. You've got to go out there and buy the best. United went out and bought Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly, 30, 40 million pound, and they're getting that kind of return. If you buy somebody for 5, 6, 7, 8 million, that's the type of return.
But they make mistakes as well. I mean, they bought Lindelof, who can't get a kick for Manchester United, and they paid £30 million for him.
He will get a kick. But at the moment, Bailly and Jones are his #1 partnership. You're talking about settled partnership. Jose won't change. He will for the cup games. Smalling and Lindelof will come in for the cup games, but Bailly and Jones, Valencia at right back, looks like Ashley Young at left back. That's his settled back four. Matic sat in front. He knows his best 11 at this moment in time, and he won't change. Fellaini's a big loss for him because it means he has to change the makeup in midfield, but bringing Herrera in might be even better.
Oh, he's a top player. So I suppose the question is, and this is what some Liverpool fans are asking, is should the back four and the goalkeeper, the back unit, be better than it is from the coaching field? Or are they just lacking quality? Or could somebody else make that more of a solid unit? Is it the coaching, or is it the fact they're just not good enough? And I think that's where some of the fans are a bit like that.
So what's the answer, Danny?
I'm going with just not good enough, because you can coach all you want, but if you've not got the
It's the ability
personality.
to read the game.
Yeah, but also to play at a big club week in, week out. A lot of those lads have come from, like you said, not so big clubs. The expectancy at Liverpool and United to play there every week, it can be a bit daunting. I've seen players take a good year to settle down. You've got to have some character. And I don't see anyone at the back demanding from others, pointing, organising. The leader. Who's the leader at the back? And I think that's why they wanted Van Dijk, because he's powerful in the air, he digs people out, he's more of a leader. I know we talk about leader and we span that about, but it's not even a leader, it's just a talker, an organiser.
It's defending the basic. They went to Man City and they got beat 5 and they got a doing. But every goal that went in, straight pass through, Aguero scores between the two centre-backs. Second goal, Matip doesn't clear at the near post. Third goal, a header from Jesus. Middle of the goal, nobody marking. These are things that you can't mark. These are things that you can't coach on a training field. You'll do back four work all week. You come to a Saturday. If you can't stay with a runner, you can't keep concentration in the big game. And Danny spoke about being at a big club. You've got to be able to defend 1v1. You've got to be able to take the ball, defend 1v1, win your duels. And those defenders aren't up to it, I'm afraid.
Although against the big teams last year, they were.
Yeah.
And on Saturday...
Fantastic record.
And then against the other teams, especially at home, they couldn't turn over some of the lesser teams.
It's a dangerous game for United because Klopp could have them that fired up. They could beat United because he's that type.
Of course they can beat United. Yeah. Doesn't mean they will, but...
They won't.
Klopp's got a great record against Jose as well.
He's got a great record against the top 6 teams in the league.
How irritated will Jose be that Klopp has such a good record against him? I mean, he won't say that he is, but deep down...
He won't like it. No, he won't like it at all because he prides himself on being the best and he pits himself against the best. And Klopp's renowned as one of the world's best coaches and he won't like it that Klopp's got a better record. And that's why I think he's always enjoyed going to Anfield, Jose. He did with his Chelsea side, he used to go there, beat them all the time and wind them up and say park the bus. I was never a fan of people saying he parked the bus. He had a game plan that always used to work when he went to Anfield.
Apart from the Champions League semi-final, of course. Didn't work. Anyway.
You always win one game out of everything, don't you? But no, I think he enjoys going to Anfield. He likes the challenge, but he'll also like the challenge of not being done by Klopp this time because he's got the better of him.